back again, doing the same mission that we did last time. So, captured by the Calvins. Well, actually, the name of the mission is By Any Other Name. If you saw that one, you saw that it was pretty much a rort. Like I didn't even come close to losing. It was very, very simple. And I don't think that's because of a balance problem with the mission, which is what the whole point of doing these is play testing the balancing. So, sorry, I've broken a cardinal rule of streaming that every stream is somebody's first stream. So, hi, let me introduce myself. I'm Lord Havoc. I've created a mod of the Lord of the Rings LCG game that uses Star Trek. So called TrekLotR, and I've made a bunch of quests. I refer to them as missions, so it's more Trekky to call them missions. And I've changed the cards around to be sort of Star Trekky. Made some unique cards, like my ship heroes here, and done some reskins of other cards. So it's a bit of a mix and match of like original and skinned cards. And I'm currently playtesting. I made a very big rule change in my original version of the mod. The ships gained resources. The ships were heroes and they gained resources like any other hero does. But I changed that rule because it basically threw the balance of the game out. And so now that I've changed that rule, I need to rebalance the missions because they were designed for the first version of the rules. In the stream I just did, the stream done a couple of days ago, I did the mission called By Any Other Name, and I kicked its butt, and I've now since made a few changes, made some balancing changes, and now I'm going to do the quest again, or mission again. And one of the other decisions I made was that the deck that I was using, the heroes and the deck that I was using, was not really appropriate to test this particular mission, because that deck was designed to reduce your threat as quickly as possible and stay low with your threat. And this mission, things don't really happen until you hit 34. So you really need to stay under 34, and if you can stay under 34 for the entire mission, then really it turned out to be quite boring. So this new deck, I'm just going to try out a couple of new mechanics and redo that mission again. So I created a contract that is kind of like the contract called the Fellowship. There's a similar sort of style to the Fellowship, and so it's side A, your heroes, ships, and allies must all match the same era. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to see on these cards because I haven't redesigned them yet. But I'm changing the cards so that they actually have a specific era denoted, and it means the era. What I mean by that is the sort of the era of Star Trek that those characters are known for. So all of these characters are going to be TNG, the Next Generation. There will be other eras: DS9, Enterprise, Voyager. Excuse me. And HAV, which is referring to my story, my fan fiction Trek crew. So I haven't actually gone and redone those characters yet. The era bit will be in this little bottom right hand corner where the victory thing usually is. So I might have a couple in here that I might be able to show you. So if I have, say, I should have like, who have I got? I should have Geordie in here, right? Do I have Geordie in here? I don't have an ally Geordie. So what do we got? Reg, Tasha, no. It's embarrassing. Maybe I only just started doing it on the heroes. Let's go have a look at the heroes. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So here's an example of a more recent version. So there's Deanna. She'd obviously be TNG as well. There's Geordie. So there's a little TNG in the middle there. So That's just there just to give you an idea of what era they are. Some heroes will be both, will be multiple. So War, for example, when I eventually get around to fixing his card up, his will say TNG and DS9 because he is quite prominent in both. I'm not going to do Discovery just because I hate Discovery, and Picard. So Picard, John Luke's card will say TNG. If I end up doing some characters from the Picard series, I actually did do one, Elnor. But I don't know. I haven't quite decided. But the ones that are obvious will have those. So anyway, so I know that all three of them are TNG characters. Deanna is based on Arwen. Data is pretty kick butt, as the 16 threat would indicate. He's actually based off an ally, Jirwal, the young lady from the Harad expansions, who's an ally who lets you look at the top card of the encounter deck and then discard it straight up if you want to, which is pretty sweet, pretty OP in fact. And plus, he's awesome stat line. He's pretty impressive. And then of course Ro, everybody's favorite TNG character. She is based off of Legolas. Although she does 2 progress instead of 1 progress. I don't know why I said 2 instead of 1. Is it 2? Or was it 1? No, I'm pretty sure it's 2. Yeah, it's 2. I haven't changed it. Yeah, so she's Legolas. Tactics Legolas. So back to this contract. You cannot play non-unique allies or put non-unique allies into play. They have to be unique. And the why that's actually a rule from the original contract, and why that works pretty well for this mod is that one of the drawbacks of this mod is that some of the cards are based off of cards that are unique in the mod, but not unique in the original game. So a good example is Sulu, who is based off of the tracker lady. So Sulu is a spirit card, and is based off the same spirit. The spirit card that says that if she commits to a mission, then you put a progress token on each location in the staging area. And she is not unique, but Sulu, the version of her, is unique because he's a known named character. So it's a bit of a bummer. In the original, you can have multiple of her and you have multiple tokens going on, but in this version of it, you can only have one because you can only have one unique Sulu. But for this, it works out really well because they're unique. You can only have one of them anyway, so it actually works quite well. So, and allies you play do not require a resource match, which is pretty cool. So you can cast any sphere ally you want with these resources because they don't need to match the resources there. And that combines quite well with the ship from this era, which is the Enterprise D, of course. Everybody's beloved Enterprise D. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so yawny. It's weird. I don't know why I'm so tired. So the Enterprise is, you can choose Ranged or Sentinel at the start of the round until the end of the round, and you choose which one you want for that particular round. Doesn't make any difference when you're solo. But Galaxy class starships do not exhaust to defend, so the Enterprise doesn't need to exhaust when it defends. So it can defend against multiple targets, multiple enemies. And its ability is the first card you play each round does not require a resource match. So combined with this, it's pretty good. Allies don't require a resource match, and the first card you around doesn't require a resource match. So I've got cards in here that I wouldn't normally be able to play because I'm using Spirit, Lore, and Tactics, and I actually do have some leadership cards in here. So I'll be able to play them as long as it's the first card I play. And the Enterprise will let me do it. Then if I'm going to play a second card, which should be the allies, so I can play that as a resource match if I don't need to or not. So that'll be good. And then forced, when you control exactly 7 unique characters, flip this card over. So there was already 4 characters in here, so if I get 3 more characters, I can then flip this card over and take advantage of its side B stuff. So the heroes and ship allies must all match the same error, so that still remains. So I can't sneakily throw in a, you know, Kira Nerys or something like that. And then each character you control gets +1 will, +1 attack, +1 defense. So that's from the original Fellowship contract as well. So it's pretty sweet. It's not the most ridiculous benefit in the world, but it's pretty good. When he then become 4/5/4. That's pretty impressive. But then you cannot play allies or put allies into play. So once you get up to 7 and that contract flips over, you can't put any more allies in. But then if a character you control leaves play, whether a hero or an ally, you then flip it back to side A, and then the process starts again. So it's basically, of course, designed to mimic the Fellowship of the Ring. Although the Fellowship had 9, whereas the main crew of a starship, the main characters of a Trek show, there's usually 7. If you think about it, there's usually only really 7. The bridge crew, right? I mean, the main crew is the bridge crew, so 7 is a more logical number. Cool. Now the only reason I don't have John Luke, I like to play with the captains, whatever the captain of that era is. I like to play with them, just because, you know, theme. I just like theme. The reason I don't have John Luke is because his ability is essentially the same as these 2 cards' abilities combined. You can play allies and I think it's like attachments or events that don't, and it doesn't have to match its sphere. So it was kind of superfluous. He does it pretty much on his own anyway. So he was basically designed so that he could be with the Enterprise D, and that was before I thought about doing the contract. So he was designed to work with the Enterprise D, so that if you had both him and the Enterprise D, you could cast any card you want. No card would need to have a sphere. So yeah. So I don't need him, and I didn't use Riker, who would be the next obvious choice, because I just didn't really think his ability made much a lot of sense. It was something about untapping allies or something. No, I can't remember what it was. I designed the card and I can't remember it. So. Anyway, so I've got a brand new deck with a whole bunch of cards that I don't normally play to sort of take advantage of the fact that I can play cards that I wouldn't normally play. Because my other deck is Spirit Tactics. So I don't really play lore all that much. So, and I've got a couple of leadership in here because I can cast them. All right, that's enough from that. Let's get the things. I've made a couple of tweaks to the mission, but nothing too dramatic. It is essentially the same sort of mission. So let's get some shuffling in there and what is going on by any other name. Mission 1A, captured by the Calvins. Stardate 4657.5, responding to a distress call, your away team beams down to a planet in search of survivors. 2 humanoids capture the team and imprison them in a nearby cave. Their leader, Rojan, explains that they are scouts from the Calvin Empire of the Andromeda Galaxy. Their ship was destroyed, so they will take yours to get back to Andromeda. So, add the cave prison to the staging area. Remove the 4 unique Calvin cards, 4 unique mission objectives, and 4 copies of the distilled card from the encounter deck and set them aside out of play. Then shuffle 1 distilled card per player back into the encounter deck. Alright, so here's the 4 unique Calvin enemies. The 4 unique objectives. So each Calvin enemy has an objective that kind of matches them thematically, which make a little bit more sense if you've seen the actual episode. And I don't mean my episode, I mean the actual episode of TOS that these characters come from. I'm pretty proud of them. It's a fun little episode. And here's the 4 copies of Distilled. So one of these gets put into the deck, and I need to grab the Cave Prison, which is that one. Cool. So we're gonna shuffle the deck, and oh, wrong one, and then put the cave prison into the staging area. So we're being captured and thrown into the cave prison. So you can see the characters in the cave prison. There's Calendria out there guarding the prison. She's one of the Calvins. And then go to 1B. Forced. After placing the first progress token on captured by the Calvins, the cave prison becomes the active location. Discard the previous location, if any, from play. Players cannot advance to the next stage while the location, the cave prison, is in play. Now this, you need to be kind of careful with advancing here. You don't want to advance too fast because that's stage 2 is when the Calvins themselves come into play and start affecting you. And that would be bad. If they all engage straight away, that would be pretty bad. And they will engage pretty quickly because their engagement is 34 and I'm starting with 33 thanks to Data's insane threat, but fair based on his stats. So that's 3, 7, 10, 16, yeah, so that's fair based on his stats for sure. So because of that, I'm starting at 33. So my first protocol, so in terms of mulliganing and stuff like that, will be to find something that reduces threat. I need to reduce threat and build these guys up before I go through here. So I really don't need to quest for too much. And then I need to get the objectives to protect them from the distilled card, which when revealed, you attach it to a character and then attach that character can't attack or defend or trigger abilities or collect resources or do anything. They essentially become a little cube or an octahedron. They get distilled, all the moisture gets taken down, they get turned into a little octahedron. And then there's a treachery in here called Crushed. There it is. That when revealed, if you have a character that has distilled attached to them, they are crushed and destroyed. They're just instantly destroyed. And you don't want that. So if you don't have a way of stopping it from happening, it's actually not. It's every character that has distilled on them gets destroyed, not just the one. Destroy all heroes with this card distilled. Yeah. So if you don't have a way of stopping that from happening, that is bad. And if you attach these to them, it protects them from being crushed or distilled, actually, not just crushed. So yeah, it's pretty dangerous stuff. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I got a couple of transports, emergency transports, which is sneak attack to get Gandalf into play, who's in this game is Q, but no threat reduction. So I don't have a Q. If I had a Q as well as an emergency transport, then I would have been cool with it because then I could have done it and used his ability to reduce my threat. But nope, no good. So I am going to mulligan. Oh, cheating. Let's try that again. Draw. Okay, no threat reduction. So yeah, that's a real bummer. I can't mulligan again, so I'm basically just going to have to go with it. Okay, that is a real shame. So now what I'm going to focus on, since I don't have threat reduction, is getting some allies out and getting the contract fulfilled as quickly as possible. So 1, 2, 3. I didn't want to do that because this is the first time I'm playing this. I don't know what that just happened. That just happened then. Must be one of the new features. I don't play this. I've never played this deck before. Brand new playing this deck and this contract, so I didn't want to have to do that sort of option. But we'll see how it goes. Let's see. It's really going to be about controlling the questing, and so that when the colors do come out, they don't immediately engage. The idea is that Deanna and Data will be my questers, and Ro will be my killer, and the ship obviously will quest as well. So There is the beauty of this is the ship is basically just going to be a quest the entire time, and I'm just using its ability because there is no ship enemies in this quest, so it's really just there to add extra three willpower for no real reason, and its ability. So that's pretty cool. It'll be a whole different ball game when we do best of both worlds, but we'll see how that goes. So for now, I don't want a super quest. But let's get some cards on there. So if I don't want a super quest, I don't think I will curl on Nascos. What I should do is, since I know there's no ships in this card is actually pointless. So it only affects ships and alien attacks, and there is no ship enemies in this mission. So I'm going to use this to discard it and use Deanna's ability to give a Starfleet character a resource, and I'm going to give that to her. The other problem here is I can't cast Deanna. I can never cast her because I've already got Deanna. Wow. I'm just going to throw her on the end there because she's going to be sacrificed to Deanna at some point. I can only do it once. Discard a card, limit once per round. So I can only do it once per round. So, yeah, so I'll give the resource to Ro. And then the first card that you cast, the first card doesn't need a resource match. I'm getting overly fancy for no reason. I will actually use the resource. I'm actually going to give that to Data because he's going to be my defender. If I need to start defending stuff, and then I'm going to use. So that's the first card. Oh, I did the same resource anyway. I'm overcomplicating it. I'm sorry, chat. I just haven't played this before, so I'm sure I'm overthinking it. But anyway, so then I'm going to use the other three. Doesn't really matter. 3. So allies do not require a resource match, and get Sarek out. Cool, so I'm currently at 5. So Sarek can't be used to attack, but he can exhaust Sarek to choose a player, and each non-ship character controlled by that player gains +1 willpower until the end of the phase. So he's basically Faramir, but a classic TOS TNG character. Absolutely brilliant. So he works. Hal, even discovered. So yeah, multiple areas. He's an old dude. And that's pretty much it. That's all the resources I've got. So I don't want a super quest. So at the moment I'm up against 2. And I'm going to catch and detach something. So I'm up against 2. So I only want to do a maximum of 4. Alright, so I'm going to quest with Data. So that I can use his ability. And Sarek. So I'm going to do 6. Let's do it. Okay, so Data's ability says that I look at the top card, and if I don't like it, I can just discard it. Cool, I don't like it. I'm going to discard it because it will insta-engage me. Because it's 20, so it will insta-engage. So I'm going to get rid of it. So that means I'm going to add this one. When revealed, remove 4 progress tokens from the current quest. There is none, so don't care. So that's pretty sweet. Does it surge if you don't? No, it just says remove 4 quest progress tokens. So this is actually nasty when it's a shadow card. The defending character does not count as defense. So it's a lot nastier as a shadow card than it is as an actual normal card. So yeah, so I won. 6 versus 2 means I win by 4. Cool. Now, how this works is, according to the FAQ, after placing the first progress token, this becomes the active location, which means that this only gets 1, and then the other 3 go on here. Now, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I guess it makes sense. After placing the first progress token on catch, the capitalism becomes the active location. Discard the previous location. And what's meant to happen then is that if there is an active location in play and you gain thing, then they goes on there, right? But it's already been calculated. If you go back to these steps down here, resolve questing, will versus threat, player actions, and then you can travel. Then you travel. Then a location becomes active. So does that mean that this bit here trumps it after placing the first progress? It really should say after placing any progress tokens. So I actually don't agree with that. It's just, and it's my game, so screw it. I'm going to play it how I want. I reckon all 4 should go on there, and that is free to go on. So now you may be thinking, who cares? But there are cards that can come out that can add progress tokens and stuff, so it is relevant. Alright, and that's my game, so I'm gonna play it that way, whether it's right or wrong, don't care. So there's that, and that's all I can do here. I got out of having to engage. I mean, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if I had engaged. It's just I would have had to take an undefended damage, it would have gone on data, and then Ro would have killed him, and then I would have gotten progress and stuff. It's just, I didn't want to deal with it. It's a pain in the bum. And its ability is that if it takes undefended damage, that character dies. And so I didn't want to take undefended damage on data to kill him. So yeah, it's a terrible card. I actually don't like those cards. Are actually worse to have to deal with the bullies than the 3 main ones. As ironic as that is. All right, so boom, threat, refresh. Resource, and then draw. Cool. So now this round, from this round onwards, the bullies, the Covens will engage. They don't appear yet because they're not in the staging area yet, so that's fine. They don't appear till 2. So if I could, by some miracle, stay without progressing, then it'd be alright. But from this time on, they're now going to start engaging. As soon as they pop into staging area, they'll engage that round. So let's see what I can do. Let's get Reg and Wes into play, hey? So let's discard the ally version of Deanna, which gives her... No, I'm going to give Data. Yep, I'm going to give Data that, because the first ally that... first card you play each round does not require a resource match, and then the first ally you play does not require a resource match. So I can actually take care of both of these things. So 4 essentially is all I need. 1, 2, put Wes. And then Wes says, after you play Wes, look across your target a player. The player return the topmost attachment from their discard pile. My topmost attachment is mines. I am going to return it to my hand because I'm going to use it to feed it to Deanna later on anyway. And then I'm going to go 1, 2 and cast Reg. So exhaust Reg to choose a player. That player may draw a card. I'm going to be using that every single time. Before I do though, I have accomplished my contract. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which means this immediately flips over. I do that all the time. Immediately flips over. Side B, and now all of my characters gain +1 to all stats. All of them. 1. is pretty sweet. Wish they had one that was just +1, +1, +1 on it. That would have been pretty handy. If one dies and I've got to flip it back over, that's going to be painful. Alright. Very pretty. Took up far more time than I wanted, but pretty nonetheless. Alright, so one across the board. So yeah, so that means data is now 4, 5, 7. 4, 5, 7. Yeah. Alright. I now cannot play any allies. And if one leaves play, I flip it back over. So I think I'm pretty sweet. Now that I am so powerful, I'm just going to immediately Barclay myself a card. Alright, not that I can spend it, but at least I know that I've got it. That's pretty cool. Alright, so now that I am so powerful, do I care if the carbons are going to come out? Should I just blitz? Should I just absolutely blitz? And just see what happens, or should I try and build up a little bit more? I mean, I can defend any of them with data, and then Bro will just kill them. 3, she's doing 3. Well, she won't kill them, but let's have a look. 2, 4, 2, 10. So yeah, I mean, he'll survive the attack, and then Ro will just hit them back. If anything, he should hit them back. I mean, geez, he's doing 5. It's madness. He's a one-man army. So I don't know. Alright, so at the very least, the ship is going to quest, and then yeah, so at the very least, the ship is doing 4. Yeah, let's do the ship and Deanna. So 8. Send in 8. Let's see what happens. Data didn't go on the quest, so I can't do the card shenanigans. So that's fine. It's a location. It's one that lets you radiate controller characters. That's cool. So that means so 1. So I win by 7. So that gets rid of the cave completely. And puts put one on here. So that's pretty good. So that means I'll travel here, which lets me ready a character. I'll choose Reg, which means I'll immediately use him again. Get me some cards. Alright, cool. Alright, so here's the card that I'm going to use with Deanna. So this is the card that combos with Deanna's ability, because Eidetic Memory can only be played from your discard pile. So I can't play it from my hand. So I have to use it for Deanna's ability to destroy a card, so that I can then play it from the discard pile. When you play it from the discard pile, what it does is it gives you, it lets you draw a card. Returns to your hand, and you draw a card. So it's a pretty neat little 2-card combo. So destroy it, get a resource, use that resource to play it back again, get a card. So pretty handy, which I can't do at the moment because I've already used Deanna's ability. But that's pretty cool. Let's move on. Threat by 1. Yeah, I'm really not that worried. 1, 2, 3. Really not that concerned at all. I've got an extra Sarek if that one dies. I've got a card I can discard. I can do the card shenanigans with Deanna. I can get cards from Reg. But it's getting cards is not going to be a problem. I've got a heal if I need it. Choose a character, heal all damage from that character. I can block and attack with feint. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to put this contract down here. Put it up here. Just sort of, I know it's there, but I use that space so I can put attachments on Deanna. So let's do the old eidetic memory thing. So I discard it, I get a free resource. I'm going to put it on row just because I felt like it. And then I'm going to spend a resource to cast and draw a card. Okay. So that's the flute that gives +2. I use Reg, draw a card. It's another feint. Okay, I really want some threat reduction. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna start slamming. Why not, eh? To give Deanna the flute. Look, so that gives +2 for 2. This gives +1, although it's not restricted. What? So that costs 2. That costs 2. That only gives +1. That gives +2. And if it's John Luke, it gets a spirit thing. So this is Calabrian stone. I'm not too sure what the point of this one is then. Although I guess it's... Oh, this is Favor of the Lady. Oh, there you go. Bit of a ditch. Alright, I don't know, I think I'm just going to bullet through it now. Let them come. Let me see if I can deal with them. I mean, why not? It's going to hammer it. What have I got to fear? Famous last words. Alright. So let's go with 5, 6. Oh. No. While the cave was in play before, I had -1, -1, 2. So I should have been down 2. So that should actually be 3. I was 2 less willpower to the quests. So. Yeah, there was 2 less willpower. So it didn't. So I won by 7. Which means, wait. Something's gone horribly wrong here. Oh no, that's right. So, 1 by 5. Only of 1 by 5. Wait a minute. Backtrack. So that was 4. Chat, what are you doing? You got to pick up on these things for me. I would only have 1 by 5. Which means that I didn't get this feint, did I? Because I wouldn't have been able to travel there, untap rare, use his ability. So let's put this feint back in there. Yeah, so I didn't travel to there. That's still in play, which means there's still -1. And now I am just going to blitz. Now because I feel bad. So it's 3, 4, 5, and I don't count that. So 5, 8. 10. 11, 12, 13. Lucky number 13. Because I'm using Zarek's ability, not his questing. Oh wait, so this is non-ship, right? No, it's non-ship, so it'd be 11, 12. So I might as well just quest with him. So yeah, 12. Either using his ability or questing with him, either way, it's only 12. Alright, so 12 versus 1, and your card. Oh, damn it. So it's 12 versus 2, which means I win by 10. So it's 1 on there, and then 9 on here, which is more than enough, which clears that, and then takes me to 2A. The Calvins have taken over your ship and dragged you beyond the Great Barrier. You must defeat them and save your crew. Events aboard you give clues on how to defeat them. When revealed, place the unique Calvin and objective cards previously set aside into the staging area. So what I'm going to do is this. Now they're not guarded objectives, so they just sit in the staging area until I can actually claim them. Players cannot defeat this stage if there are any Calvin enemies in play or mission objectives in the staging area. So what I need to do is clean these objectives. You can have multiples on the same hero. It has to be a hero. And a hero, not a ship hero. And then kill these dudes. And this dude. Can't have any Calvins. Alright, so then I'm going to travel here, which means I get to untap a character. Now, I guess it's a last-ditch effort. Oh no, because they're all going to engage now. I'm going to engage right now. Jeez. Well, I get to unexhaust somebody. Somebody's going to be a chump blocker for me. What are you at the moment? So you'd be defending for 3. So you would still live. You're terrible. And you're terrible. So Sarek, you can actually still defend. Yeah. Unexhaust Sarek. Alright. Combat. All of them engage. I don't have any of these at the moment. that should be over there because they should have gotten their shadow cards first. Alright. So, shadow cards here, everybody. Everybody engages. I've gotten rid of Cave Thing, and I do have a contract, and so they all do still get their pluses. So, Data is not a problem. He's going to be able to defend. Sarek will be able to defend one and take a couple of points of damage. One, possibly two. No, three. He'll definitely take two because at the moment they're at +1 because they're engaged. While he's engaged, all Calvin enemies gain +1 defense. So they all currently have +1 defense. This is what happens when you engage all of them at the same time. It's just painful. And because Tomar's engaged, they all get +1 attack. And because Rojan's engaged, all Calvin enemies when they attack, the defending player raises the threat by 3. This is just a disaster. The threat's going to be off the charts. Okay, so I've got Feint for one of them. I can cancel one so that they never actually attack. So what I'll do is use that. I'm going to lose Sarek. He's going to die. It's 2, 3. And he's currently 3. Oh no, he might live. Alright, so I'm going to use Feint and cancel the attack of this guy. I'm going to cancel Rojan's attack because I can't have him. Oh no, it doesn't matter because while he's engaged, all of them gain that ability. So it's still, the threat's all still going to go up anyway. So I'll stop the attack of the guy that kills you if he damages you because he's just too dangerous. Alright, so I cancel his attack, so he's cancelled regardless of what happens. So now I just have to deal with these guys. So Sarek is going to defend against Rojan. Why not? So he's attacking for 4. Defending for 3. No shadow effect. Those over there. So 4 to 3, he takes a point of damage. No, it's 5. What am I talking about? There's a thing right there in front of you, Dave. Come on. So 5 to 3. Yeah, 5 to 3 is 2. So he still survives, but yeah, painful. Alright. The other guys, I guess I'm going to have to take undefended. Now, something I found out fairly recently that's really thrown a crimp in my play is that allies cannot take undefended attack damage. Yeah, and because ship heroes are heroes and allies, it's a bit of it's a bit of a contradiction in terms. So they can't take undefended attacks either, but because they're ships. so basically nobody from this side can take undefended attacks. So it really is all up to these guys. So I'm going to have some undefended. Oh, because he's attack, I raise my threat by 3. Gonna have to cop. Data's gonna have to cop some of it. And just pray he doesn't die. So what is he doing? He's doing 5. He can only take 1. Well, that's pretty much the end of the game. Yep. Data's dead. Absolute disaster. He's just too much threat. Too much threat to start off with. I just can't have them attacking so fast. So I'm going to reset. See how it goes. Alright. I'll come back. Thanks, everybody.